The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and you know what Wednesdays mean. We bring in a sidecar. We got Scotty and Minter. Oh, with a little bit of swag. Oh, I like that. Scotty coming in with that TI hat kind of cocked off to the side look, you know, where it's kind of off your head, kind of not. I like it, Scotty.
Thank you. I like to change things up like that, and it's Ravens week, so you gotta have a little bit of swag.
Scotty's got some big things popping. You get that, that's the one TI song I could actually reference, I think.
Yeah,
But here we go into a Wednesday episode, Scotty. No Brian Tolnar today. He has meetings at Mill Creek Park that he could not get out of. It's just a nice, gentle reminder that Brian is really an important guy. And we are so grateful that he's able to give us his time most of the weeks. But we do realize that he's pretty dang important. And sometimes there are things that he has to attend to that probably way outweigh just being on a podcast. So we always thank him for his time. But this week, unfortunately, his time is better served elsewhere. Scotty, how we doing this week?
I'm good. It's you talked about Brian, and it's definitely true. Like another guy I know as well, he's got meetings today, so that's why I'm doing the
Who's
show.
that guy? Who we talking about, Scotty?
From home today. Who is that guy?
Who's that guy?
Let's see.
I think it's a two-letter name.
Yeah, two-letter name.
No, our boy DJ absolutely putting in work today as well, doing a lot of things that no one ever sees. CEO things, you know, big boy things that me and Scotty are not privy to. But man, what a great job we've been doing, Scotty. We want to recap last week, Scotty. You weren't here with us last week. You were at the Canton Hall of Fame. How was that, buddy?
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, Anthony,
no, Scotty.
but there was a last minute cancellation, so we are rescheduling the trip. But after all that build up, I didn't go. So hopefully soon. But
I haven't been this let down since I can't think of a funny joke. I'm sorry. I was trying to do.
I thought that
I was going to try to do like one of those
a,
Family Guy. I was going to try to do one of those Family Guy flashbacks that they always do. Like, I couldn't think of one on the fly, and now I'm really disappointed in myself, and that's why I stick to sports talk and not comedy. So, Scotty, why didn't you hop on last week then, man?
Well, I guess I could have hopped on Running Point. I thought about it as far as going to athletics, and it was like last minute, and I didn't know if DJ what he had going on, so I didn't. I just ended up. My staff ended up just taking me out, but next time I'll definitely jump on from here.
Everybody's just one-upping us today. Like Brian's got meetings all day, DJ's got meetings all day, Scotty has a whole staff working for him. I'm sitting over here in my bedroom drinking a small bottle of Mountain Dew, loving life, you know?
Hey,
So,
do the do.
So no Hall of Fame to recap. So let's just jump into last night's games and talk about what went down on the network and otherwise last night in the YSN family. We'll pop up the scoreboard, get it full screen for you guys, and remind you that this YSN scoreboard, as always, is brought to you by Brunette Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. We thank them for their sponsorship of this YSN scoreboard. Scotty, what a great tool for YSN fans. You know, if you're at a game or you're watching one of our broadcasts and you don't want to leave the broadcast too long or you don't want to look at your phone too long, really quickly you can go to ysnlive.com/scores and see the Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs YSN scoreboard and get all your scores really, really quickly. It's live updated, especially on Friday nights, and so you can always hop in and see how the teams that you want to keep an eye on are doing on the scoreboard. It's a great tool for our fans, and we thank Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs for allowing us to bring it to them. Let's start with volleyball. Like we always do, we're going to do the first 3 rows and then see if my crazy computer formatting will allow me to scroll over to that last column. It's always hit or miss with that. Badger gets the win over Matthews in straight sets, 3-0 the final score. Geneva gets the win over Lakeside in 4 sets. Dragons get a set, but nothing else. 3-1 the final score there. Jefferson gets a much-needed big win over Conneaut. We have Brookfield. Yeah, they had to go up against the monster in Crestview, and it wasn't pretty. It was a sweep by the Rebels. Ho-hum day there for the Crestview. Garrettsville Garfield falls to Campbell Memorial for the second time this year. 3-1 in 4 sets, the final score there. LeBray sweeps champion 3 sets to none. Columbiana takes care of East Palestine 3-0. Girard goes to South Range, ends the Raiders' 7-game winning streak and wins in 4 sets in South Range. Hubbard gets the sweep over Poland. McDonald sweeps Waterloo, bounces back from their loss on Monday to Crestview. We have Newton Falls going on the road at Liberty and getting the sweep there. Hoban's great season continues. They're still undefeated. They beat Perry, the Panthers, Perry Panthers, 3 sets to none. I know you see the pirate logo there, but when there's 2 Perrys in the Northeast Ohio area, easy to get confused there. Southern Local gets the win over Latonia, 3 sets to none. Springfield and Jackson Milton play a thriller, and Jackson Milton, who only had 2 wins in the season coming in, upsets the Tigers and gets the 5-set victory. With a great day for the Blue Jays, a big win for that program that needed a big win like that. Ashtabula St. John gets the win over 10-win Wyndham. This is going to be big for St. John in the power rankings, I think, this week when we do the calculations. If they continue to have a good week, the Heralds with a big win in straight sets over Wyndham. Lisbon and United play a thriller. It went 5 sets, and it is Lisbon that gets out of there with a win. Willsville sweeps Valley Christian, and then Western Reserve sweeps Lowville. We're going to go down to soccer, and then once again, we'll pop back up and get the last column of everything after we get through the rest of these games here. So we go to soccer. We have Badger beating Matthews. 10-0. That is brutal in soccer. That's almost the largest point total we've seen all year. We've seen a couple of 14s, though, this season. Warren JFK beats St. Thomas Aquinas 9-0. We have, let me scroll down a little bit here to get this. There we go. We have Howland getting the win over Boardman 1-0. Spartans put up a heck of a fight against the Tigers, but Howland still too much. Hubbard gets the win 11-1. Poland gets the win 2-1 over Lakeview. All right, let's see if I can scroll the rest of the way down. There we go. Okay. Girard gets beat by South Range 5-0. Grand Valley gets the loss 2-0 over Berkshire. Austintown Fitch beats Warren Harding 8-1. The final score there. So we scroll back down to girls soccer. We saw Champion beat Garrettsville Garfield 9-0. Scotty, their goal differential for Champion now is above 70 with the 9-0 win over Garfield. They have only allowed 6 goals all season. They pitched another shutout against the G-Men in a 9-0 win. We have Waterloo tying with Springfield 3-3. And then we'll go back up to the top and we'll scroll over to the final column for volleyball. All right, so we have to do this and this. Let's see here. I think this has to be all the way down here. Then let's get that third scroll bar over. Okay. Whew. It's a lot of scrolling. All right, back up to the top to get the last column of volleyball. Austintown Fitch went and swept Cardinal Mooney 3-0. We had Jordan Smith and Afton Roby both tied with 11 kills for the Falcons, so a balanced offense there as they get the win in straight sets. Struthers beat East in straight sets 3-0. Lakeview sweeps Niles in 3-0. Mineral Ridge sweeps Sebring, and then Warren JFK sweeps St. Thomas Aquinas. Now we go to the last row of boys soccer. Carrollton and West Branch doing some battle, but it's all West Branch. 7-0 the final score there. We have Marlington taking a shot at Salem 4-2 the final score there. Dukes get the win. Canfield boys get their 7th win of the season. They beat Ursuline 4-1. And then last but not least, of course, is an 8-0 victory for Warren JFK girls soccer over St. Thomas Aquinas. Take a breath. Those are your scores. Scotty, anything stand out to you before we talk about some of these games in depth?
Well, definitely the champion. I didn't realize they had such a whopping differential when it came to their goal scoring and what they've allowed this season. So that immediately sticks out. Fitch as well. It seems like to me they've built like a bunch of good programs athletically. We know how talented they are on the football field, but like it's surprising. I know people might not think much of Harding, but it's surprising to me that they were able to win that decisively 8-1 in boys soccer.
Yeah, Fitch is having, they're overshadowed a little bit by monsters in their conference with Canfield and Howland. But Fitch is having a good year in their own right. When you're in a conference with two very dominant teams, it's easy to get overshadowed and let people forget that you're really talented and you're having a good season yourself.
Yeah,
It's like if you're a men's basketball team in the ACC and you're not named Duke or North Carolina, you're just not going to get the media attention, even if you're really, really good, because you're not Duke and you're not North Carolina.
For sure, and it doesn't mean at times because they Duke and North Carolina they get the stud recruits most of the time the blue chippers, but other schools can still put a pretty good team out there and competitive team and a team that's going to be a problem. And sometimes we forget that when it comes to really any sport. I think we were always talking about the best teams, and then there's talk on the teams that have really struggled, like what's it going to take for them to turn things around. But we don't as much focus on the teams that maybe don't get all the buzz and recognition, aren't as I guess you could say they just don't get the get the publicity, but they're still really solid, and sometimes and that's why I love being a part of the YSN family, is just getting that chance to let every athlete in every school this is kind of like their a chance to showcase them, and that's what it's all about to me.
So now we just have to, I guess, like Canfield and Howland fight for who's Duke and who's North Carolina in that metaphor. You know, who
Yeah,
gets to who gets to be? There's no wrong answer, because if you're Duke, you're really good. If North Carolina, you're really good and historic. So, but whoever you want to be, Canfield and Howland, you just decide. You let yourselves know who you're going to be in that metaphor. But it's all the same. Let's talk about the big night for some of our athletes last night, Scotty. It was milestones everywhere in volleyball last night. We had a bunch of them, and most of them were on the network as well. Let's talk about the ones that I was at in person for. Middle Ridge, they get the sweep over Sebring, but bigger than that, they get 2 milestones in one night, which is not something you see too often. Samantha Allett, their senior setter, gets 2,000 career assists, and Ava Hewlett, their junior outside hitter, gets 1,000 career digs. So 2 milestones in one night. It's an awesome way to do it, Scotty.
yeah, that really is. You can't anything ask for anything better than that, really. I mean, to get one in one night is special, let alone getting two in one night. That's where people start writing, a lot of times in sports, that's the stuff that scripts are written about, movie scripts. And I feel like we're kind of that again. And a lot of it, I give credit to people like you and your expertise. You've made me better and more knowledgeable, man. But everybody in the YSN family, just just giving these kids a chance to show what they can do, and then when they're super successful and they make memories that'll last a lifetime. To me, that's what it's all about. Because most of these athletes, some will go on to college and be successful there, but a lot, at once high school is over, their career's over. So this is a very important, it's just these high school years are very important to highlight, and that's why I love that we get to do what we do.
Samantha Allett, 2,000 career assists. She did not set during her freshman season. She was the Middle Ridge libero. Her older sister Danielle was in her senior season, and she was the setter. So you have 3 seasons of setting for Samantha Allett, 217 sets played as a setter. And if you do the math, Scotty, she has now 2,008 career assists because she needed 18 last night. She got 26. So you do the math, that's 8 more than 2,000. So it's 2,008 assists. Divide that by 271. You get just about 7.5 assists per set, which is really, really good for a career. And she's still going. She's trying to chase down her sister's career record now. It's going to be a race to 2,272. And that I talked to her last night, and she was like, I just want 2,273. If I can just get one more than my sister, then we'll be okay. So she's very determined to chase down her sister's record and have that bragging right at the Thanksgiving table. Looking ahead, Middle Ridge, they don't have a ton of games left in the regular season, but They do have a good chance to make a deep tournament run. So you think they've played 18 games? They have 4 more regular season games, if I'm not mistaken. And then let's just say they win 3 tournament games, and they win 2 tournament games. Even if they lost a third, they get 3 tournament games, which is pretty easy to think they should get out of sectionals and at least get 2 wins under their belt and get a third tournament game. That would be 7 games left. If you average 7.5 per set, you times that by 3 to get a match. So it's 22.5 per match. You times that by 7. You get about 157 more assists. She's going to need to crank that up just a little bit to get to 2,272. But she's very determined, and you never know. There could be a couple of matches in a row where she gets way more than 22. That's just her average. So it's going to be fun to watch her the last couple games of her career and see if she can chase down her sister.
Yeah, and even if they end up with that the exact same number, and she doesn't get to 2,700
2,272.
2,272, and the one she wants is the 2,273.
Right.
But it's wouldn't be so bad. I mean, you think about like sports tandems, like they're obviously sisters, but you go with brothers in sports too, like Eli and Peyton. They both won 2 Super Bowls, so that's not so bad. They can maybe both say nobody one upped the other one, or maybe she surpasses her and gets the ultimate bragging
Well,
rights at the
what's
dinner
awesome, Scotty,
table.
what's awesome is even if she doesn't, or if she does, the Allette sisters are going to be 1 and 2 in the record books for career assists at Middle Ridge. So talk about a wonderful, because Danielle graduated and then Samantha was the next up. So, a wonderful, you go 7 years of setting for Middle Ridge to have extremely the 2 best setters you've ever had in your program back to back. It's been a great stretch of success for Coach Lesko and the Rams. And then talking about Ava Hewlett, she gets 1,000 digs, but she is on the heels also of 1,000 kills, and she's just a junior. So before her career is over, barring anything very tragic that we knock on wood to even bring up, she's going to get 1,000 kills to her in her career as well. So she's going to be one of those very rare members of the 1,000 club before her career is over. But she needed 2 digs last night, and because Middle Ridge was serving so well, Scotty, Sebring wasn't getting swings over the net. So we were in the second set, and I'm thinking like she still needs a dig because Sebring just couldn't get swings over the net. They couldn't attack because they were just having so much trouble passing the serves of Middle Ridge. Finally, in that second set, she did get her first and second digs of the night, and she gets 1,000, so we can square that away, and she can move on. But really incredible night in Middle Ridge. 2 players, 2 milestones, and they're both still going to be going on. So great night in Middle Ridge. I was happy to be a part of it, but that wasn't the end of the milestone, Scotty. No. This is funny because Middle Ridge ended pretty quick. You can see it was a 3-0 game. It was 25-8, 25-6, 25-11. So we were out of there pretty quick. I get a message from Chris Colucci in the group, in the volleyball group that we have at YSN, and he's like, "Hey, South Range hasn't even started yet. Gerard was an hour late to the gym because they had a bus breakdown, and they still played their freshman game that they had scheduled. So it was still a triple header for South Range and Gerard, but it started an hour later than scheduled. So it was a late night at South Range, and on the way home from Middle Ridge, I was like, hey, you know what? let's just hop on over and watch this South Range Girard game real quick. Because you know me, I love being in that gym. That's home to me. So I went to South Range, and lo and behold, Girard was on the cusp of a milestone. Bailey Walters, their setter, needed 18 assists last night to crack the 1,000 career milestone. She got a lot more than 18. I'll tell you that much. I think the final total was 44. So she cracks 1,000 assists. She's a junior, so she does that before her senior year if it starts. And here's something even more exciting, Scotty, for the volleyball fans out there. She spent her freshman season setting a 6-2 offense. So for those of you that don't know volleyball, 6-2 just means you rotate with another setter. So there's always a setter in the back row, and the setters don't go in the front row. So Allison Durkin and Bailey Walters 2 years ago during her freshman season, they both set. So you cut the set totals and the stats in half really for your setters. So freshman year she did that. Last year, her sophomore year, she wasn't a setter. She played libero for Girard. Allison Durkin took over the 5-1 offense, which means the setter rotates all the way around and plays every rotation. So this is the first year that she's had the full reign of a 5-1 offense, setting every rotation, and she gets 1,000 before the season's over. You add like maybe a couple, I don't know the exact numbers of her freshman year, maybe a couple hundred. Her freshman year couldn't be more than like 250. That would be like the cap, I would say, of a setter going into a season with a 6-2 offense being run. And then none her sophomore year. So she came into this year with at the most probably like 250 assists. So to get 1,000 before her next season is even over, her junior season's even over, tells you how impressive of a season that Bailey Walters is having for Girard.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't lose you with all that, did I, Scotty? I was trying to be as descriptive as I could.
Yeah, you said you're talking about the 1,000 assists, right?
Right. 1,000 assists for Bailey Walters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable, man. That's good stuff there, and to do it in just that amount of time, and knowing she's got quite a bit of a career left to do it that quickly. I mean, that makes it even more special.
I mean, we talked about yesterday, Riley Simons on Monday for Fitch broke the program record as a sophomore for assists in her career, already with over 1,400 assists on her career, which was impressive as well. But then you look at Bailey Walters getting to 1,000 in really her first season, setting a full rotation offense. You know, like I said, she set her freshman year, but she only set for 3 rotations out of 6. So she set for half the match instead of setting for the whole match. So you do this the first season as a full rotation setter, and you really get yourself probably from less than 300 a career to 1,000 before the season's over. That's remarkable, and I imagine she's going to be in a 5-1 offense next year too, setting. So you could get 2,000 career assists from Bailey Walters. I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to do that before her career's over. Incredible. Already has the Girard record for assists in a match. He did that earlier against East Liverpool, where she had 55 assists in one match. So she already has that record under her belt. Maybe she's going for the career assist records too. We'll see. Also has 1,000 career digs on her scopes. And Coach Walters says probably not this year with the way it's going, but there's a good chance that she's able to get that in her senior season. So she'll be a member of the 2,000-1,000 club, which is very rare in volleyball. Milestone, Scotty, not over yet. Struthers had 2 milestones last night on the same team. They're the second team of the night to put together 2 milestones. Emma Morris and Natalie Borowski for Struthers both got 500 career digs on the season last night. And you look at the libero Borowski for Struthers, she's just a junior. So 500 now, her junior season, still has some games left to get over that. You could see her get to 1,000 if she has a really good senior season. So really great milestones for Struthers. Two different games. We have two players from the same team get a milestone. That doesn't happen at all. It only happened once all season up to this point, with Southern Loco doing it earlier in the season with Riley Malott and Ashley Schroeds both getting a milestone on the same night. And that was the first time I'd ever saw two players get a milestone on the exact same night on the exact same team. So it's really remarkable that we're seeing all these ones hit at the same time this year. But if you thought that was it, you're wrong, because Lakeside, unfortunately, they fell in their game, but they still had a milestone as well. The senior libero, Tess Collins, gets her 1,000th career dig. So want to congratulate everyone last night on their wonderful milestone achievements on the volleyball side. But Scotty, we're not done. We're not done with milestones. Can you believe it? Champions Taylor Kuhn from their girls soccer team broke the program record for career goals. She now has 101 career goals on in her career, and that officially breaks the record for Champions program. So milestones on the soccer field, milestones on the volleyball court. It was a big night on YSN for a lot of athletes last night.
Yeah, wow. That's tremendous. All these milestones in one night. Man, that's why all of us are a fan of sports.
All right, Scotty.
Because no matter what sport is your favorite, what you're most passionate about, that's why you watch sports as a fan, or if you played. It's not just about winning, because you're gonna lose and fail a lot too, but it's about these special moments that I think sometimes as like fans, we take great players, great athletes for granted sometimes. But this is why we watch sports, is to see the special moments like this night to night. And that's also what makes sports great too, is sometimes it's just the unpredictability of it and the variables, and you got to be ready any night, because you never know when you're gonna witness something that's really special.
All right, Scotty, before we take a break and then get to what's on your mind today, I want to ask you one milestone question. One thing that on that, because you're about to ask me a bunch of questions, I feel like. One milestone question for you. You have a lot of milestones in every sport. You have 100 wins for wrestling. You got the 1,000-point club in basketball, kills and assists and digs in volleyball. You got the home runs, the strikeouts for softball, baseball. What do you think is the most impressive milestone? Which one takes the cake for you? If a kid gets this milestone, more impressive than the rest?
To me, oh man, that's a tough one, but it's about time you put me on the spot, because I'm always doing it to you, making you uncomfortable. So sometimes I gotta deal with it too, and I'm not gonna give a cop out answer here. I would say, to me, I would have to go with just. I'm thinking immediately coming in my mind, because my first love growing up was baseball, and I think it's really hard to hit a baseball, even softball. So I would probably go with the home run record, but that's just me.
All right, so Scotty's going with the home run machines. I'm going to answer this, and I'm going to tell you, Scotty, this is not what I would have said a year ago. because I wouldn't have had this one on my radar, to be like completely honest. But after doing Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary all season last year, and that being a much more in-depth segment where we brought wrestlers on and we talked about wrestlers' careers, really understanding how hard it is to get 100 wins in a career for a wrestler, and seeing a couple of the guys do it last year, I'm blown away, because that's a sport where it's all you. You're by yourself. There's no one to back you up. It's truly an individual when you're on the mat. You got to have consistency through your whole career to get 100 wins, and you got to be really, really, really good. So I'm gonna go actually with 100 wins in wrestling.
That's a good one, because not only do you have to be, you have to be good, Anthony. You got to be physically tough, but you have to be really mentally tough as well. As you said, you got no one to pick you up. It's just you and your opponent on the mat. So
like, you don't get an obscene number of matches per season, so you have to be nearly perfect throughout your high school career to get to 100 wins. There's not a lot of room for losses in that stretch. So you are truly dominant if you get 100 wins in wrestling.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess once you get on the mat, I'm assuming a lot of these wrestlers, like, once they've been doing it for so long, it's something they just do. They don't think about it as much, but just sometimes, like, I just think about, like, people packing the gym and like that, like, pressure, and then not only the pressure but the physical, like the pain.
Right, I was about to say, it's not a comfortable sport either. Like, you are going through some pain,
Yeah.
Your job is to inflict pain on the other person. So you're going into the sport where the other person's job is to take you to a point when you don't want to fight him anymore, and get him to that point where you're gonna tap out, or you're gonna get pinned. That's not fun. I wouldn't want to do that in sport. We were watching cross country, and I didn't realize how many of them just throw up. And it's like, I don't want to do a sport that takes me to the point where my body is saying I have to exert this energy out of our stomach because I can't take it anymore. I don't want to do that in sports, Scotty. I'm not mentally tough enough for that. So wrestling's the same way. Like, you're getting physically beat up every night, and to go out there and do it consistently at a high level and win every night and get 100, that's mighty dang impressive to me. And I wouldn't have said that a year ago. So that's just a testament to how good Gary Altizer is at coming on and really giving us respect for the sport. So that being said, that's my take. Scotty goes for home runs. There's no 100 home runs. No one really gets that in the high school career, but we could see a couple of girls get, close to 50 if they continue to have really good careers. A couple of sophomores already are up there in the 30s, going into their junior season, because we have a lot of very good young talent on the softball field. So we could be seeing some high home run career numbers in the next couple of years. Scotty, maybe you'll get that milestone for yourself to celebrate.
Yeah, that would be a nice one. And 50 is just a good number to get.
50 burger, and now
50 burger, yeah.
What has entered the sports vernacular now is a 70 steamer, because that's what the Dolphins put on the Broncos. 70 steamer. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll see what's on Scotty's mind, which is always a scary thought.
Sheely's is more than a furniture store. We're a hub for all of your appliance needs. We offer the widest selection at everyday low prices, with over $1 million of in-stock inventory from Whirlpool, KitchenAid, LG, GE, and more. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales staff can help you find the perfect appliances for your home. We're there for you beyond your purchase to service what we sell and offer free local delivery with 24-month special financing. Sheely's, the best things in life happen at home.
House troubles can attack anytime. When trouble strikes, call Mighty Mike. Your hometown hero is on his way. HVAC causing havoc? Has your furnace gone mad? Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling will save the day. Commercial or residential, 24/7. For quality service you can depend on, call your hometown hero. Call Mighty Mike.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
Shopping for a vehicle online should be easy and worry-free. Introducing Merge from Greenwood Chevrolet, a completely new way to buy a car that combines the convenience of shopping online with the personal touch and expertise that Greenwood is known for. With Merge, shopping is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Choose a vehicle from our pre-owned inventory, build a deal that fits your needs, and finalize the deal with our online buying team. That's car buying in a new lane. Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and let us go the extra mile for you.
Greenwood Chevrolet goes the extra mile for you. They are the presenting sponsor of Running Point. We constantly thank them for their sponsorship of the show and being with us through all the twists and turns Running Point has taken. Different hosts, different structures. They've always believed in what this show can be. So we thank Greenwood Chevrolet. If you are in the market for a new or used vehicle, or you're in a need of a service department, make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No one takes better care of you than they do. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Scotty, I hesitantly ask, what is on your mind today, buddy?
Always a pretty dangerous question.
Let's get dangerous, like Darkwing Duck. That's a throwback to Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm glad you said Darkwing Duck and not Baker Mayfield. Because I had to bite the bullet on Baker, although he is 2-1. But anyway,
he found some new life in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to get your thoughts today. I thought it was pretty interesting, Anthony. I know, college-wise, you support local. You're a big Yellow Jackets fan. Ramblin' Wreck,
Georgia Tech. Hell of an engineer.
I'm sure you've heard by now, and maybe you even saw it after the game this past Saturday. Before the game, legendary Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz, he kind of took some shots at Ryan Day, and then after the game, Ryan Day for Ohio State fired back.
Took some shots right back,
So I guess going off of that, Anthony, I wanted to ask you, trash talking, when it comes to trash talking in sports, is there a certain line that, shouldn't be crossed? And do you think trash talking, it makes sports better, more intriguing, or do you think it kind of, it's not really a good thing, and actions speak louder than words, and it's about, showing class, being humble, acting like you've been there before. Do you think it maybe sets a bad example for the youth that we cover here? What's your whole take on trash talking in sports?
Oh, this is a deep question, Scotty. Let's unpack this. First, let's talk about the Ryan Day and Lou Holtz thing. The funniest part about it, I don't know if you noticed this, Scotty, but you could hear it on the ESPN broadcast. Before the interview starts, you can hear Ohio State's SID who's in the background during his interview, so you know it's him. He goes up to Ryan Day and he says, "Take a deep breath," because I think he knew Ryan Day was fired up. Like he knew that Ryan Day was about to come out and spit fire, right? So you can hear him say, "Take a deep breath," and Ryan Day goes, "Oh yeah, watch this." And then he says what he says in the interview. So he was like he knew what he was gonna do. He didn't care what the SID had to say. He was just like, "Oh yeah, watch this," and he went off and he said what he said about Lou Holtz. I wonder where Lou Holtz is right now. It's a dang good football team. We're tough. All that stuff. Um, but then I didn't even know what Lou Holtz said when I saw that. I was like, I didn't hear so I had to look up what Lou Holtz said, and of course he brought up the big losses that Ryan Day has had in Ohio State and some of the reasons why they lost those games. And from what I've heard from people that know football and have watched those games, like Lou Holtz wasn't exactly wrong. I mean, like Ohio State wasn't the more physical team in all those games that they did lose, and Ryan Day might have used that to fire up his team. Like, hey, this is what people are saying about you, and they were definitely the more physical team in that particular game against Notre Dame. But you can't. I'm not going to get mad at Lou Holtz for saying the truth. On paper, going into that game, I thought Notre Dame was a better football team than Ohio State because what we had seen so far was Ohio State, even in the games they won, which all the like you look at the Youngstown State, the touchdown drive that Youngstown State had, they were just more physical than Ohio State. You start looking around like no disrespect to Youngstown State because we all love the Penguins, but they could never out physical the powerhouse Ohio State. Like you can never be out physical. If you're Ohio State, you can never be out physical by Youngstown State. Like there's two different levels of football for a reason, right? The Youngstown State only plays those kind of teams once a year for a reason, right? Because they're supposed to be on a completely different level. But you look at that the touchdown drive, especially in the first quarter against a first string defense, and the touchdown run where Davidson just kind of barrels through the end zone. You're like, whoa, this Youngstown State team is just pushing around Ohio State. That didn't continue, but you see little glimpses of that, and you start to wonder how tough this team is. And maybe they needed someone to come out and call them out publicly, and they needed some bulletin board material. I'm of the belief that if you need bulletin material, then something's wrong in the first place. Teams that don't need it find it. Like teams that don't need it find it. That's what Tom Brady and the Patriots were really good at. They didn't need bulletin material, but they still found it just to keep themselves at this like unbelievably godly level. Michael Jordan the same way. Like he didn't need bulletin material, but he took it and he created it and he won it. But if you need it, like if you need that to go out there and play like that, then maybe there's something wrong in the first place. I don't know, but Ohio State on that night shut up Lou Holtz for sure, and said, you don't think we're physical? Watch this. So now my question is, okay, can you get that fired up every game this season and act like Lou Holtz said that about you every week? That's going to be the big test for Ohio State. Now, you went to trash talking in general, and honestly, like I heard Lou Holtz's statement, and it was a little bit of trash talk, obviously, because he's a Notre Dame guy, but he also coached at Ohio State under Woody, under great coach Woody. So, I don't think. I mean, I don't like coaches to trash talk. I think players that do it are fine. They're in the motion of the game, but when coaches kind of do it, it's kind of like, okay, you're supposed to be the adult in the room, but sometimes it happens. Trash talking in the game, that is such a it's hard to make that black and white, Scotty, because we've seen throughout the many years of football, especially the bigger levels, like the big college and NFL, there are guys that thrive off of that kind of energy, that need that trash talk and that this dog mentality. And then there's some guys that like need the opposite. They need the clear focus, not let the emotions get away from them. Like, we're all cut from a different cloth. We're all different. We all react to those kind of situations, high octane athletic situations differently in competition. So I'm not going to sit here and say like all trash talking is bad and anyone that trash talks is a terrible person and they're a disgrace to the sport. I'm not going to say that everyone needs to trash talk. I'm not going to. I know that's kind of an answer. Like Anthony's living on the fence. He doesn't want to pick one, but I think it's true. I think there's a line that you don't cross with trash talking. Of course, personal attacks and you kind of keep it on the field. You don't go into a guy's personal life and you don't make comments about like their mama or their sister or anything like that. Like some of the stuff that I remember Maryland student section would hold up for JJ Redick for Duke was just like, that's sick, man. That's crossing the line. But there's obviously a line that you should not cross if you're trash talking. But some guys just need to chirp a little bit. You see a lot in basketball, especially. And some guys don't. And I'm not going to sit here and say the guys that don't are all of a sudden just more classy, because guys that trash talk on the football field, you see them shaking hands, hugging after the game. It's they kind of understand it's just kind of part of the atmosphere, right? And some sports don't even have that in their culture, but in football and basketball, it's a more of the, we're going to jaw at you, we're going to chip away at you, because I think those are physical games where you want to get your opponent to a point when they kind of don't want to fight you anymore. Like football is a game of will. You want to break your opponent's will. You want to get them to a point when they don't want to line up against you anymore. And a part of that is kind of psychological attacks, right? So there's going to be trash talking in a game like that. So I'm not going to sit here and say that all trash talking is bad and anyone that trash talks in a game is automatically classless and dirty and anything like that. And I'm not going to say that people that don't trash talk are not competitive or don't get enough fire, because I think we're just all different and we need different things to get us into that space of being able to compete at an elite level. So I know that's kind of on the fence, Scotty, but that's just how I see it. I don't think it's a black and white thing about trash talking.
What do you think off the top of your head? I won't ask you to name just one, because that would be tough. But is there like a rivalry you've seen, whether it's on the high school level and maybe a little bit of back and forth, college, pros, from a player's perspective or coaches? Like what's some of the most memorable, or like when it comes to trash talking, I know you were, because you're a Chiefs fan, you knew all about that trash talking last year in the Cincinnati Mare. But
Burrowhead.
yeah, what's some of the, over the years, like the trash talking, some of the ones that stick out?
That's because there's some good ones, man. There's some good shots, and they're usually taken like in the week leading up to the game. Like someone says something silly, and then that's taken. Like it's usually, we don't hear all the stuff that goes on in the field too much, but it's usually someone in a press conference says something in the game in the week leading up to the game, and then it fires everybody up like the Burrowhead with Cincinnati, Kansas City. Man, that's tough.
I think I'm trying to remember because there has been a lot. But I don't know.
The one where it's always funny when cornerbacks talk about the receiver, in a week leading up. And I know Darrelle Revis used to do it a lot, and then they would get burned like bad. And you just be like, oh man, you are just silenced. And I think there was a couple of instances, or maybe one instance, where like during the week, Darrelle Revis was just like throwing crap on a dude, right? And then all of a sudden it was like he gets burned like crazy, and you're like, well, maybe you should shut up a little bit.
Yeah, and
It's
I
always
feel
funny
like
when trash talkers get their little bit pieces of humble pie because it's like if you can give it, you better be able to take it. Let me give you best example, and it was against my Chiefs, and I absolutely respected it. Like I expected both sides of it because one, my player walked off the field, didn't make a scene, and then I loved it because Super Bowl, right? Tampa Bay's kicking our butts, right? And I think it was a deflected pass. Pass is incomplete. It was a third down stop. One of the Buccaneers, and Tyreek Hill's on the ground, like he's sitting on the ground, or I think he was like hunched over, whatever. One of the safeties for the Buccaneers comes up to him and in his face holds up the peace sign, right? Just right in his face, like deuces, and then walks away. That's awesome, right? Because that's his thing. Anytime you use like someone's signature against them completely when you're kicking their butt, I love it. I love it. That's my best trash talk ever. Don't have to say anything. You just go up to his face, you hold up the deuces, and you walk away. I love that he did it, and I love that Tyreek Hill was just like, all right, yeah, you're kicking our butts, and you walked out the field. He didn't escalate it. He was just like, cool. I love that. I love that kind of stuff because when you, like I said, when you dish it out, you got to be able to take it. So Tyreek Hill took it. He knew he was getting his butt kicked, and I love it. I love the peace sign in the face. I was like, okay, tip of the hat. That was good. Because I think it was. Remember earlier in the regular season, Tyreek Hill was just gassing that defense, and he probably pulled the deuces on that guy at least twice. And he did the whole like on the phone thing on the sideline. Help is on the way, So during the season, the Bucs got embarrassed by Tyreek Hill, and then the Super Bowl, obviously they kicked his butt, so they let him know with the deuces. Remember, Scotty, in women's basketball this year, it got huge news because the LSU player went up to Caitlin Clark and was doing this to her, even though she'd been doing that all season. All of a sudden, doing it back to her was deemed disrespectful, and she got blasted on the national media scene. But I love using someone's signature right against them and being like, okay, you've been kicking people's butt with this or with the deuces or whatever. I get your number. I'm gonna put that back in your face.
yeah, and I fell victim to that too a number of times. If you remember when Baker Mayfield was still in college, when they played Ohio State
He
in Ohio
State. He wasn't grown up in college yet. He was doing a lot of buffoonery in college.
Yeah, he planted the flag on the O,
Yep.
and then a couple years later, they were playing the 49ers, and Nick Bosa sacked them, and he
Planting the flag.
did the. I thought that was a good one.
Yep.
So
And I'm sure he got a lot of hate too when he like grabbed his groin in front of people because I think it was the Kansas game because they didn't shake his hand or something.
yeah,
Got him out, and he was like grabbing his junk at people's at other teams' players. So when you do that kind of stuff, and then they humble you the next time you see them, yeah, that's gonna come back on you really quick.
oh yeah.
And then like a lot of people did the money for Menzel. You got the bad end of that too in Cleveland. You probably had to get a lot of people doing this.
Oh yeah, that happened a lot. Yeah, Johnny
Menzel loved his little money thing in college, and it didn't work out too well in the pros, unfortunately for your Browns.
No, I know we're out of time, but I don't know if you saw that Johnny documentary on Netflix, but he definitely wasn't ready for the NFL at the time the Browns drafted him. So.
All right, Scotty, we are out of time. I want to remind everybody there are plenty of games on the network tonight. Let's go over them real quick. We'll go a few minutes into overtime, but I don't really think that's a big deal. Today we have 1, 2, 3 volleyball games on the network. East Liverpool going to host South Range. Chris Sigler going to be on the call from the Potter Fieldhouse. Ty Bartell will be in Western Reserve as they welcome in Jackson Milton coming off that big 5-set victory over Springfield last night. And then Gary Altizer will be in Wellsville as they welcome in Union Local, who went to state last year in Division 4. So a big test for the Tigers in Wellsville. Girls soccer on the network. South Range at Lakeview. CJ Bako will be on the call there. And then Warren Harding at Canfield. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber will be on the call for that one. Also, boys soccer, we will have a matchup. Gary Burton is going to be at Beaver Local. Beaver Local having one of the best seasons that they've had in their program's history. They look to continue that tonight against Weir. And those are the games that are going to be on the network tonight. So hold on to your butts. It's a big day of high school sports and YSN, and we can't wait for it. Tune in, and we'll be back on Running Point tomorrow, 1 to 2. Scotty, you'll be back next week, right?
Next week. I love the Jurassic Park drop right before we
got to
get
get
on.
that Samuel Jackson in there. It's been a big day of pop culture references. We're getting them all in.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I love some Samuel L. Jackson. So I had it with these snakes.
That's about the only Running Point friendly quote from Samuel Jackson I can put out there.
Yeah. Just go watch Snakes on a Plane. That's all we could say.
It's a terrible movie, but it's very quotable. We'll see you soon on Running Point. Scotty, we'll see you next week. Brian Tolnar